A day after Russia declared war on Ukraine, Kiev came under attack with Russia forces invading the capital. Ukrainian forces engaged with Russia soldiers just 5 kilometers away from Kiev. With Ukraine closing its airspace, Government of India is sending teams to country bordering Ukraine to assist in the evacuation of Indian nationals stranded in the country. First batch of Indian students leave Ukraine to be evacuated from Romania. Eastern Naga Student Federation submits a 30-day ultimatum to the Chief Minister of Nagaland to address demand placed by Federation regarding the Nagaland Staff Selection Board. Federation states that NSSB doesn't serve the interests of the aspirant across the states in its present form. Nagaland Board of School Education declares dates of the state's HSSLC and HSLC examination 2022, while HSSLC examination scheduled to be held from 8 March 2022 to 31st March 2022. The HSLC examination 2022 to commence on March 9 and to end March 22. President Ramnath Kovind arrives on a 3-day visit to Assam to take part in a series of programs, including launch of 400th birth anniversary celebration of Ahom General Lachit Borpukhan, to address the 19th convocation of Tezpur University on Saturday. Hello and welcome to Nagaland TV. This is Rovinyo Lama and you're watching English Primetime. Now, news in details. The Russian invasion on Ukraine has almost reached the summit as capital city of Ukraine, Kiev, is witnessing intense fight between troops the two neighboring countries. As per latest reports, Ukrainian forces are engaging with Russian soldiers just outside the capital city. It's only a matter of time as the Russian army are unstoppable and are just 5 kilometers away from the conquering Kiev.
Russian invasion of Ukraine enters day 2. Kiev to fall in the hands of Russia. Russian troops push closer to the Ukrainian capital. Russian military 5 kilometers away from Kiev. Russian forces approaching Kiev from northeast and east, claims Ukraine army. Ukraine putting up fight to hold its last fort. There is no end of nightmare for the Ukrainians as the capital city Kiev have been breached by the Russian army. Reports say, showing resilience, Ukrainian forces are engaging with Russian soldiers just outside the capital city with gunfire heard near government quarter of Ukrainian capital. The latest information suggests that the Russian forces are now just 5 kilometers away from Kiev. The Kiev bridge has been blown up to prevent entry of Russian forces into the capital, while a number of attacks have targeted civilian objects in the capital. A tweet by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry has said that Russian forces have entered the Obolon district of capital Kiev. The Ukrainian military claims to have repulsed the attack on the Gotsmal air base, but Russian ground forces have also been pushing down to the west bank of the Dnieper River from Belarus. The ministry meanwhile have asked the residents to keep a check on military operations and to make Molotov cocktails. It also has appealed for peaceful residents to be careful. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said 137 people, including 10 military officers, have been killed and 316 people injured in the warfare so far. Meanwhile, terming the Russian attack on Ukraine as unimaginable, country's foreign minister Dmytro Kuleba has pleaded for more arms and ammunition to continue fighting.
Today, I have asked 27 European leaders whether Ukraine will be in NATO. I have asked directly, everyone is afraid, no one answers. But we are not afraid. We are not afraid of anything. We are not afraid to defend our country. We are not afraid of Russia. We are not afraid to talk to Russia. Sadly, today we lost 137 heroes, our citizens. 10 of them were officers. 316 people have been wounded. They have not surrendered. They will all be awarded posthumously the title of the Hero of Ukraine. Let those who gave their lives for Ukraine be remembered forever. I remain in the capital. My family is also in Ukraine. My children are in Ukraine. They are not traitors. They are citizens of Ukraine. According to the information we have, the enemy has marked me as target number 1, my family as target number 2. They want to damage Ukraine politically by destroying the head of state.
On early Friday, after a fierce battle, Russian forces seized control of the now unused Chernobyl plant and its surrounding exclusion zone, some 90 km north of Kiev. And the staff at the plant have been taken as hostages. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden said Washington will intervene if Putin moves into NATO countries, stressing that if his Russian counterpart is not stopped now, he will be emboldened. The countries of NATO's eastern flank, especially the Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, all have received the first batches of US military troops and equipment. Notably, Russian President Vladimir Putin's announcement of the military operations in Ukraine on Monday has led to worldwide criticism, with several countries including the UK, the US, Canada and the European Union condemning Russia's action and imposition of sanctions on Moscow. International Desk, Nltv.
As the world stands in fear amidst a looming world war, the world has divided into sides, with each supporting either Russia or Ukraine. For the first time since the Cold War, the world has come to a threatening standstill. Several countries have already announced heavy sanctions on Moscow, and more stringent action are expected as it declared a full-scale invasion on Thursday. However, despite Ukraine's plea for intervention, no country has come forward to directly stop Russian forces from attacking Ukraine.
World divided into two sides on Russia-Ukraine crisis. Russia continues aggressive attack on Ukraine. Johnson calls Vladimir Putin a dictator. EU to weaken Russia's economic base and its capacity to modernize. Who is actually stopping Russia's attack? As Ukraine pleads the nation of the world to stop Russian aggression, these are the countries that have assured Ukraine of their solidarity and support. The United States, UK, Japan, Germany, France, Canada, Australia, Italy, South Korea and several others. On the other hand, Russia is being backed by several nations including China, North Korea, Pakistan, Iran, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Belarus, Cuba and other South Asian nations. Until now, India has remained neutral and has been appealing the countries to maintain peace and diplomacy. US President Joe Biden called Russia's attack on Ukraine unprovoked and unjustified, and said that they would continue to provide support to Ukraine and that the world will hold Russia accountable for military onslaught. Boris Johnson called Vladimir Putin a dictator and said the United Kingdom and its allies will respond decisively to Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine. The UK and our allies will respond decisively, Johnson added. France condemned Russia's decision to wage war on Ukraine. Russia must immediately put an end to its military operations. France President Emmanuel Macron said, France stands in solidarity with Ukraine. It stands by Ukrainians and is working with its partners and allies to end the war, he added. Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi lashed Russia's attack on Ukraine as unjustified and unjustifiable, saying Europe and NATO were working on an immediate response. Italy is working with European and NATO allies to respond immediately with unity and determination, Draghi said. Russia's attack on Ukraine shakes the foundation of the international order, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said, strongly condemning the military incursion. We will coordinate efforts with the international community, including the United States, and deal with this swiftly, added Kishida. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Putin is responsible for bringing war back to Europe. We will weaken Russia's economic base and its capacity to modernize, she said. United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres warned the war could trigger a humanitarian catastrophe, saying it would cause a level of suffering not seen in Europe since the Balkan crisis. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg warned that the military alliance would defend every inch of its territory should Russia attack a member country. The United Nations, the 27-nation European Union and other Western allies announced a round of punitive measures against Russian banks and leading companies and imposed export controls aimed at starving the country's industries and military of semiconductors and other high-tech products. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson also announced financial restrictions and export controls. In addition, Britain will also prohibit Russia's flagship airline, Aeroflot, from landing at British airports. Canada imposed sanctions that will target 58 people and entities, including members of Russia's elite and their families, the paramilitary Wagner Group, and major Russian banks. Germany suspended approval of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia. US President Joe Biden later followed suit, declaring that Russia chose this war and would bear their consequences. 4 major Russian banks will have their assets frozen and be cut off from US dollar transactions. The United States and its allies will cut off more than half of Russia's high-tech imports to stop the country from being able to modernize its military, build ships and aircraft, and advance in aerospace. The European Union, meanwhile, also agreed to a sweeping set of sanctions against Russia, which would have massive and severe consequences. These sanctions cover the financial sector, the energy and transport sectors, dual-use goods, as well as export controls and export financing, visa policy, additional listing of Russian individuals, and new listing criteria, it said in a statement. It is to be mentioned that every major Western nation's tech against Russia could also affect their own economics. Hitting the Russian banking sector could damage firms which do business in Russia or have assets in its banks. An export ban on high-tech goods would hit many Western manufacturers. It is worthy to mention that Europe relies on Russia for nearly 40% of its natural gas. Russia's foreign ministry has threatened to introduce sanctions of its own against the West. This may include reducing OPR, shutting off gas supplies to Europe. The ongoing geopolitical crisis between Russia and Ukraine will also affect the economies of the Asian countries. India, Thailand, and Philippines would be the biggest losers of the crisis, while Indonesia would be the biggest beneficiary. The West and its allies showed no inclination to send troops into Ukraine, a non-member of NATO, and risk a wider war on the continent. But NATO reinforced its member states in Eastern Europe as a precaution against an attack on them too. Biden, for now, held off imposing some of the most severe sanctions, including cutting Russia out of the SWIFT payment system, which allows for the transfers of money from bank to bank around the globe. Ukraine's president called for Russia to be cast out of SWIFT, but the United States has expressed concern about the potential damage to European economies. The United Nations has become a mere spectator, as it could not do anything to prevent Russia from carrying out attacks on Ukraine. However, despite all the support and solidarity expressed in words, none of the nations have actually come forward to directly stop Russian military from carrying out attacks. The fear of repercussions has the Ukraine supporting countries helplessly stand and watch as Russia aggressively continues to attack Ukraine. News Desk, Nltv.
Amid ongoing Russia's military operation against Ukraine, the government of India will arrange evacuation flights for Indian nationals in Ukraine. The sources further say that the cost will be completely borne by the government for the evacuation. According to government sources, 2 flights for Bucharest today and 1 flight for Budapest for tomorrow are being planned to be operated as Government of India chartered flight. Air India is operating 3 flights between India and Ukraine on February 22, 24 and 26. The flight will take off from Borispil International Airport, and bookings are open through Air India booking offices, websites, call centers and authorized travel agents. With Ukraine closing its airspace, the Ministry of External Affairs Government of India is sending teams to countries bordering Ukraine such as Hungary, Poland, Slovak Republic and Romania to assist in the evacuation of Indian nationals stranded in the country. Notably, Ukraine shares its western border with its countries, while Russia is attacking from the eastern side. Meanwhile, Foreign Secretary Harsh Vardhan Shringla said Indian Air Force aircraft are ready in case they need to be pressed into service for evacuation. He further mentioned of the estimated 20,000 Indians in Ukraine, 4,000 managed to leave the country in the last few weeks. Furthermore, he also asked Indians to follow the embassy's social media platform for updates. Notably, MEA team are being sent to Hungary, Zehoni border post opposite Uzhhorod in Kazarpatia, Poland, Krakowice border, Slovak Republic, Yivsny Nimakhi border and Romania, Sukiva border. It is to be mentioned that the Indian national in Ukraine near these border points have been asked to contact these teams. It may also be mentioned that India is closely monitoring the situation and the focus is on the safety and security of Indians, particularly students. The Eastern Naga Student Federation has submitted a 30-day ultimatum to the Chief Minister of Nagaland with a request to address the genuine demand placed by the Federation regarding the NSSB with immediate effect. The Federation stated that the Nagaland Staff Selection Board 2020 doesn't serve the interests of the aspirant across the states in its present form, and that the Federation has advocated to pursue discontentment by submitting numerous representation and ultimatum ever since the first draft content on NSSB was rolled out. There is an apprehension that if the NSSB has to function as per the present draft modalities, it will not serve any purpose and that the dreams of the aspirant will be hampered drastically, and the very motive for constituting the NSSB would be defeated even before it start functioning. The Federation has demanded to include all the exempted department and posts under NSSB without any exception. Therefore, the Federation has implored the screening authorities to kindly pursue the matter at hand and embrace the aspirations and interests of the general Nagas by coming to terms with the charter of demands being put forward by the ENSF. Furthermore, the ENSF has stated that if any unfortunate incident ensued following the agitation, the state government shall be held fully responsible. A consultative meeting of the committee to study the issues relating to implementation of Nltv Act 1989 with various stakeholders was held at the Nagaland Civil Secretariat Conference Hall, Kohima on Thursday. The meeting was held under the chairmanship of the Chief Secretary of Nagaland, Jalam, and Advisor Excise Zalio Rio as a special invitee. Addressing the gathering, Zalio informed that the state government has not taken any decision to lift the Nltv Act 1989 and that the meeting was being held to discuss and know the stand of the stakeholders in the states. Zalio stated that committee to review that Nltv Act 1989 was formed in 2018 to conduct study on health issues due to consumption of spurious liquor, to study the revenue generation of excise department of other northeastern states and the avenues of employment generation in the states. He further added that statements and views of the various organizations have been collected by the Committee on Nltv Act 1981 and the committee will further study the statement and submit its recommendation to the state government. Furthermore, Chief Secretary and Chairman Alam stated that the committee has been to meeting different stakeholders and have heard the views and opinions, adding that the meeting was just a consultative meeting. He thanked the NGOs for sharing their opinions and hoped to reach a common ground for the benefit of the people of the state. He assured that the government is working with the best intention and committee will be submitting its recommendations soon. The consultative meeting was attended by Naga civil bodies and church organizations. All stakeholders shared their views and opinions and submitted their statements to the committee.
Huge social evils that are confronting us. So pre-total prohibition, I think even annually we're getting about 5+ scores. But after imposition of total prohibition, through the collection of permit fees and in the form of levy duty and license fee, I think we are hardly collecting 2 to 3 lakhs in a year. Whereas a smaller states like Mizoram or even Meghalaya for that matter,
The Bharatiya Janata Party Nagaland unit has taken serious note of a viral video clip of NPF working president Huska Yaptomi, wherein he purportedly called Honorable Prime Minister a liar. Notably, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had landed in Manipur on the 22nd of February 2022 to address a public meeting at Hingant, wherein he spoke on good governance and development taking place across the country under BJP government. At the center, the BJP has specially noted a quote from speeches. When Narendra Modi stand and try to speak, open his mouth, only full of lies comes out. He is a big liar, unquote. The party stated that at no point of time did the Prime Minister make any utterances that could be misconstrued as lie. And further, it stated that it was a shock as to how a senior NPF leader could come up with such a crazy idea as to hurl accusations against the Honorable Prime Minister of being a liar.
Changes have taken place along with facing the election by this party. Glad to witness the proactive step being taken by various Naga political groups and government of India on the Indo-Naga political issue. Personally, I am confident that the Naga political problem will be resolved sooner than later. One that is inclusive, honorable, and acceptable.
State HSLC examination 2022 is scheduled to be held from 8 March 2022 to 31st March 2022, while HSLC examination 2022 from 9 March 2022 to 22nd March 2022. Chairman NBSC Asano Sekose in a press statement stated that a total of 17,117 candidates are enrolled and will be appearing from 88 provisional examination center. Out of 17,117 candidates, 7,860 9,260 are boys and 9,257 are girls. The Class 10 Promotion Examination 2021 shall also start from 1st April 2022 to 23rd April 2022. 3,327 candidates will be appearing the HSLC Examination 2022 from 135 Provisional Examination Center and 4 Sub-Center. 1,391 candidates will also be appearing the HSLC Compartmental Examination 2022 from 35 Examination Center. It may be noted that due to COVID-19 pandemic, more additional examination center have been created in the district and subdivision in order to maintain social distancing in the examination center. On 23rd February, the board had an online meeting with all the center superintendents where their duties and responsibilities were discussed in details. The board shall also deliver the materials to the examination center to disinfect the rooms, washrooms, halls. Satoi Ranch Ganburas Association concluded its 27th Biennial General Conference on Thursday with Minister Agriculture and Cooperation Government of Nagaland G. Kaito Aye as special guest and Jolie K. Awomi, AEO of the Education Department and former President Western Sumi Totimi Hoho as the guest speaker. The 27th Biennial Conference was hosted at Kuvuku village of Satoi Ranch, Zunaboto, under the theme Unity Our Refuge. While addressing the gathering, G. Kaito Aye mentioned that the Ganburas are the guardians of the village administration, while he further urged them to uphold the peace, unity and upliftment like their forefathers had done so in the past. He also said that the GBS should ensure all the welfare scheme granted by the government be practically implemented for the benefits of the village community. He also said that backward fund allotted for Satoi block under the Department of Underdeveloped Areas would also be supervised by the Satoi Range GBS Association. Furthermore, Aye disclosed that Tribal Girls Hostel under Tribal Affairs would also be constructed at Satoi headquarters for the development in the region and exhorted the student community must have a competitive spirit in their academic career and avail opportunity under Nagaland Staff Selection Board and other exams. While Jolie K. Awomi said that unity and mutual respect among the Satoi community is the need of the hour and therefore urged the GBS to take the lead and march for the upbringing of the community. Notably, the 29 Union Satoi Ranch GBS Association will be hosted by Sutoho village. The 9th Biennial General Conference of the Nagaland Law Student Federation was organized on Thursday at Jubilee Memorial Center of Leri, where representatives from all the 3 law colleges in the states took part. Notably, Secretary, Judicial Department of Justice and Law, Nino Iralu, Director General, Present Government of Nagaland, Rupin Sharma, graced as the event as a special guest, while Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, Government of India, KG Kenya, graced as the guest speaker. Furthermore, Director General Rupin Sharma, while addressing the gathering, urged the young generation to put more efforts and direct the society to a new platform. He suggested that Nagaland University can also bring up a law campus with integrated programs and that a government law college need to be set up in the states. Meanwhile, guest speaker MP KG Kenya in his speech reminded the crowd that quality of a society is defined by the existing law. He stated that ASFA was a bulletproof jacket to the army and was insulting to the very law and teaching which Mahatma Gandhi followed his whole life. He further quoted that law is the essence of governance. Sakrini Kamp Mini Hornbill Festival of the Angami community was celebrated on Friday at the Naga Heritage Village, Kisama, with Nagaland Chief Minister Nifu Rio as the special guest. Chief Minister Rio, while speaking at the celebration of the festival, urged the community to maintain peace and harmony and use the festival as an opportunity to strengthen the relationship and renew friendship among one another. He urged the Nagas to unite and work together towards achieving a solution to the protected Nagaland political issues. Furthermore, he also said that Nagas also need to talk about how to build the state's economy rather than just talking about politics. It is to be mentioned that the festival was organized by Angami Public Organization, where different sections of the society attended the festival. On the occasion of Sacrament Festival of the Angamis, Chief Minister Nltv and Governor Professor Jagdish Mukhi took down to their Twitter account to extend their greetings to the people of Nagaland. Rio mentioned that may the festival of purification strengthen bonds of unity and fraternity and wish everyone to lead a good health, peace and fruitfulness in all the endeavors of the life. Meanwhile, Governor Mukhi mentioned that Sacrament Festival is an occasion for the Angami people to celebrate the spirit of togetherness, cleansing themselves of all the wrong and renouncing ill will against each other, if any. He further urged the Angami youth to comprehend and carry forward the underlying intellectual, spiritual and philosophical significance of Sacrament and revive the positive value and strengthen the spirit of peace and unity. A workshop for public libraries on the topic Relevance of Library in the Digital Age and Organization and Management of Libraries was organized by the Department of Art and Culture Government of Nagaland on Friday at State Library of Kohima. The workshop was notably being sponsored by the Raja Ram Mohan Roy Library Foundation, Kolkata, whereby Advisor for Tourism, Art and Culture H. Kiev Yaptomi graced the inaugural function of the workshop as a special guest. The advisor, while speaking at the program, congratulated the department for taking this fundamental initiative for the greater benefit of the society and towards the development and promotion of public library services in the states. Kiev further said that libraries are considered as the storehouse of knowledge and an important building block for the progress and development of the society. He said that in this age of information technology, where information is available at the push of a button, many may question the relevance and significance of library. However, he opined that with the technology advancement and the shift from manual work to intellectual work, the importance of reading and book have become even more significant today. Mokokchung District Planning and Development Board for the month of January and February 2022 was held at District Planning Hall, Mokokchung on Thursday under the chairmanship of Deputy Commissioner and Vice Chairman DPDB Lima Wabang Jamir. The meeting included proposal for the medical intern room at New Reserve, Mokokchung, which was proposed by SP Jamir. Meanwhile, after thorough deliberation, the board agreed to forward the proposal. Furthermore, the DC also committed and assured to issue an oxygen concentrator to the said project as and when the project materialized. The House also took the COVID-19 and vaccination status. The DC also informed the House that Dr. T. Au Inter-District Tournament Nagaland will be hosted by the Mokokchung District from 19 April to 28 April 2022. Therefore, he called upon all the district hosts to be mentally prepared and extend cooperation for the success of the tournament. It is to be mentioned that newly posted officers like District Fishery Officer T. Tatong Longcher, District Urban Development Officer Pangjang Kokba, District Welfare Officer Hibao Rio, Assistant Election Officer Olivier Tour were also welcomed during the meeting. President Ramnath Kovind arrived in Guwahati on Friday on a 3-day visit to Assam to take part in a series of programs including the launch of the 400th birth anniversary celebration of legendary Ahom General Lachit Borphukan. President Kovind inaugurated the year-long 400th birth anniversary celebration of legendary Ahom General Lachit Borphukan in Guwahati at Srimanta Sankar Deva Kalakshetra Auditorium. Kovind also launched the beautification and repair work of Lachit Borpukant burial ground at Tiok in Jorhat district. During the function, he led the foundation of Alaboy War Memorial to be constructed at Dadara in Kamrup district of Assam. Earlier, Kovind, accompanied by his wife and daughter, landed at the Lokpriya Gopinath Bordoloi International Airport in Guwahati in a special Indian Air Force flight, and he was accorded a warm welcome by Assam Governor Jagdish Mukhi, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma and senior officials from there. Kovind directly went to Kamakhya Temple atop Nilachal Hill and offered prayers. Mukhi, Sharma and other state ministers accompanied him inside the temple on Saturday. The president will address the 19th convocation of Tezpur University in Sonitpur district. After that, he will visit the Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve and take a jeep safari at the Bagori Range. During his 2-day stay in the park, he will view a photo and archival exhibition on conservation there. Besides discussing various government initiatives to protect the farm forests, after spending the night at the Assam Police Guest House in Kaziranga National Park on Saturday night, Kovind and his family will take an elephant safari on Sunday morning. He will leave Assam later that day.
मैंने अपने सार्वजनिक जीवन में बहुत सारे लोग मिले और उनसे मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा और आज एक ऐसी शख्सियत मेरे सामने बैठी हुई हैं श्रीमती विजया चक्रवर्ती। मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा। आज असम के आप सभी भाई बहनों ने जिस उत्साह और प्रेम से जब से मैं गुवाहाटी आया हूं जो स्वागत किया है उसने मेरे दिल को छुआ है। आप सबके स्नेह की स्मृति मेरे हृदय में हमेशा बनी रहेगी। ये तो हम सब जानते हैं कि अतिथि देवो भव की भावना असम के सभी लोगों में संस्कार में उपजी हुई है, लेकिन अपनों का स्वागत करने की परंपरा सभी देशवासियों को असम के लोगों से सीखनी चाहिए। क्योंकि मैं अपने को आज अतिथि नहीं मान रहा हूं, मैं जैसे आप हैं वैसे मैं भी हूं, मैं अपने की बात कर रहा हूं। मैंने अपने सार्वजनिक जीवन में
Highlighting the impact of Budget 2022 and 2023, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a seminar on India's self-reliance in the defense sector on Friday. The webinar was themed Atma Nirbhar Bharat in Defense, Call to Action. The Union Minister Rajnath Singh also participated in the post-budget webinar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in speech said that the strength and commitment shown by India in its defense sector in the past year will continue. The minister also lauded the defense manufacturing strength of India before and after independence. He further said that India's weapons are being exported and utilized in other nations as well. Modi said that customized and unique system is necessary for a good defense system. Moreover, the 2022 and 2023 budget is focused on the research, design, development and manufacturing of defense equipment and is blueprint of a vibrant ecosystem. 70% of the defense budget is focused on domestic industry. Furthermore, a contract of over 54,000 crores has been signed for the domestic procurement. Meanwhile, approximately 75 Made in India defense equipment and services has been supplied to other countries. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi also urged the stakeholders to focus on PPP model.
In defense, call to action. देश के इरादों को स्पष्ट करती है। बीते कुछ वर्षों से भारत अपने डिफेंस सेक्टर में जिस आत्मनिर्भरता पर बल दे रहा है उसका कमिटमेंट आपको
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the post-Union budget webinar of the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare at 10 a.m. on Saturday. During the webinar, there will be 3 thematic session on the topic of Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, e-Sanjeevani and Telemental Health Program. According to the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the objective of the webinar is to involve the stakeholder in taking forward the various initiatives of the government in the health sector. The webinar will have panel discussion with eminent speaker and expert from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Niti Aayog, industry fora, startup, academia, and also hold along with the interactive session with the stakeholders. This is all for now. For more updates and information, keep watching Nltv.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on GeoTV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 10 in Global Chapter, and for Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.